My name is Lydia René, and I'm a singer, a songwriter, an arranger, and I'm an artist and I like to create.
Shadows fill the room, candlelight flickers.
I got into music because I came from a pretty musical family. I had to learn how to play the piano if I didn't do anything else. I just stayed with music throughout my whole life. This music was always a constant for me. I was born in Mount Holly, New Jersey. It's a very small town. But the cool thing about Mount Holly is it's close to every single major city on the East Coast. I don't think it's fair to just have one musical influence. I have a ton of them. I will say that one of my biggest musical influences is Miss Jill Scott. She made me fall in love with neo soul. You know, I heard her song playing in the gymnasium, Long Walk, when I was 14, and I was done. I was a neo soul head ever since. I think my defining moment and my favorite moment was when I realized that a good friend of mine from high school, she called me up one day and was like, hey, yeah, don't you do music? My husband was one of the producers on Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. And I was like, why didn't you tell me this? My friend kept bugging him over and over and over again to let me write one song. And finally I got that call. They were like, okay, we're gonna send you a track and we'd like to hear the song in 48 hours. So I was like, okay, terrified. Terrified, half to death, but I wrote the song, I got it done in one day. I went to their studio, I sang it for them. They absolutely loved it. So that's how I got started working with Tejamold and Jahari Newton. The name of the LP or the album is called Vintage Heart. And the title basically went through metamorphosis. I wanted to call it Vintage Me, and my mom vetoed that. I was like, well, it's love, but I want to say vintage love. That's whack. So she's like, what about vintage heart? And I was like, oh my gosh, yes. And vintage heart basically means, well, vintage, the word vintage means something that is used, but still in good condition. All the songs were written a long time ago, with the exception of maybe one or two. And, you know, it's very vintage in that way also. I would love for my fans to know, after listening to my album, to know that real love exists and that they can have it. A lot of times we tend to settle, or we just kind of give up on it, period. Whether it's love for yourself, love with a significant other, love with anything. Also, I'd like to show that intimacy doesn't have to be of a sexual nature. That's all well and good, but there's other things that go into a relationship other than that, and intimacy is oftentimes all the stuff surrounding that, as well as just a very, very personal side of myself. Everything happened to me or a friend of mine. It happened in every single song.